Hi everyone, welcome back to your classroom. I'm your host, Thatcher Taylor, certified financial planner and owner of ProPath Financial. This is a Functional Retirement Podcast, and we're going to break down over the next 3 episodes, 3-part series, 10 years, 5 years, and 1 year leading into your retirement date, how you need to view these specific windows of time differently. And this is set up because I get a wide variety of ages. The majority of my clients are over the age of 50. It's just how it worked out. It's what I specialize in. It's what I talk about the most. My content leads directly into that older age group as they prepare for retirement. But when you're 10 years out versus 5 years out versus 1 year out, the thought process evolves and changes. And instead of doing one big, long podcast breaking these down, I thought I'd be able to dive in a little bit deeper into each segment, but also to make it easier on you, you can listen to the time frame that you may be in to have this make a little bit more sense and more applicable to your particular situation. So this is going to be part 1, 10 years out. Next week, part 2 will be 5 years out from retirement. And next week, week 3, will be 1 year out from retirement, what you should be doing. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe so you can get all the subsequent episodes. If you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, just make sure to subscribe. This will pre-feed every single week, and it'll be really valuable for you. And if there's someone that you can think of that this may apply to, that may be valuable for them, please share it with them. Shares are always valuable to help this thing grow. So without further ado, let's get into the first part, 10 years out. But I feel like I got to tell you why, where I got this idea from. Here's where this all came from. I played college football. I played high school football. Love football. Football is very unique. There's only one game a week. There's a lot of preparation because there's so many elements and it's a really complex team game. There's a lot of preparation leading up to game day. But different days are different levels of preparation and function differently as you lead into the game. Here was our schedule. Game was on Saturday in college. Sunday, we did a little workout just to flush the system, keep conditioning high. Monday was a complete day off. Maybe some lifting if you wanted to, but they tried to get it to be a complete day off. Tuesday, practice. The main components of that practice were installation. We were preparing for the next team and we were installing the plays that we would use for that team. So we were building the playbook for that next game. The next day, Wednesday, was to fine tune a little bit more. Thursday, fine tune it a little bit more. Friday was usually a travel day with walkthroughs. Wherever we were, if we were at home, it'd basically just be kind of a walkthrough day. And Saturday would be some walkthroughs, so some preparation stuff, some mental stuff, and then games. And we would repeat that all season. But each one of those days came with a different intention. You would do it a little bit differently. The goal and the mentality of each one of those days was a little bit different. Just like preparing for retirement, so instead of stretching out 7 days till retirement, we can stretch it out to years leading to retirement. And the mentality and how you approach each one of these segments is different. 10 years out is probably like Monday, maybe Tuesday. We're just installing things. We're just reviewing the next team, making sure we have a good understanding of where we're at, and then we start to install the system that we're going to be using when we get there. Wednesday could maybe be 5 years out, where we're really starting to fine tune and make sure we're on track. That could be Wednesday and Thursday. 1 year out is more like Friday and Saturday, where it's pretty much game time. We're just reviewing things mentally. We're practicing the install. We're making sure we're on track. We're making any last minute adjustments. So when we've got to play the game, we're prepared and we're ready. That's how we're building this out. That's kind of how I think about it, to be honest with you. As much as a meathead as I am, that's how I think about all this. And so let's say you're 10 years out. That's our first benchmark. That's this first episode is 10 years out. We're 10 years out from retirement. Here's what you must be doing. That's like if it was Monday or Tuesday and we were not reviewing the next team's game film. That was imperative. It was a must. We were there every Monday or Tuesday watching game film for the next team. So when you're 10 years out from retirement, you're going to watch game film to get an understanding. Our game film, though, is not necessarily a review of the other team. It's a review of you. I think at 10 years out, you should be able, in some capacity, to start to put together a picture of what your retirement is going to look like. You should have a pretty good understanding within a few years. You should have a reasonable expectation of when you want to retire, what year or what age, or when you want to stop working. You should start getting a pretty good understanding of, okay, 10 years, I'm good with this. You should at that point have a reasonable idea or at least a thought process about where you want to live. If you want to upsize or downsize, if you want to have multiple houses, if you want to live in the heat, if you want to live in the cold, if you want to travel a lot, if you don't want to travel a lot. I mean, if you're 65, is 65 your retirement date? And again, I'm just throwing 65 out there, and you're 55, you're 10 years out. Most people at 55 had a pretty good understanding of what they want retirement to look like. That's step one. You're envisioning what you want your retirement to be. Step two is you should have a pretty good understanding at age 55 of what your expenses are on a day-to-day basis, what your pre-retirement expenses are, what your lifestyle is. You should have a pretty good handle on being able to manage your money. Whether it's too much or too little, you should be able to navigate how much money you have or don't have coming in and out of your accounts. The reason why this matters is because once you get to retirement and you're utilizing assets for income, or you're turning on some income sources, you're going to be on a very limited asset distribution strategy, depending on how much you have. I mean, if you only need 100 grand a year and you have $10 million of assets versus if you need 100 grand a year and you have $1 million of assets, those situations are different. But you should have a good understanding of how much you're going to need in retirement based off what we spoke about first, the vision of retirement. You see how this works? What do you want retirement to look like? How much are you spending and how much will you need to spend? You see how that waterfall works? The next thing is projecting out how much you'll potentially need for retirement by evaluating how much you have now. 10 years out, you should have a very, very clear vision. I should be able to be like, how much you have in your IRA, how much you have in your 401k, how much you have in your taxable brokerage account. When you're younger, I'll give you some leeway. Hey, how much you have in your 401k? I'm not really sure. I think last time I looked, it was like 100 grand. When you're 55, there's no last time I looked, I think it was X. You should have a good understanding of how much is in all of your investment and retirement accounts. If you don't know and you're not paying close enough attention, that is a giant red flag to you're not preparing well enough for retirement and you may need someone to help out. But you should know. The reason for this is I got to know how much you have now. So if we're 10 years out, we can make some serious adjustments and get you really, really close to having the retirement you want or having a more elaborate retirement than you even thought was possible. 10 years, we can do a lot of high quality damage in rebuilding this thing. So you need to know how much you have now so then I can evaluate how much you need and what we need to do as far as investment strategy, asset allocation, contribution to retirement accounts, yada, yada, yada. I can fine tune all of that from there. Next thing you want to do is you want to have a good understanding of what your Social Security is going to be. 55 is very important because Social Security, the benefit you receive is based off your highest earning 35 years of work. The next 10 years that you work are most likely going to be your highest earning years and are going to remove old, lower earning years from your early days in life. So navigating your Social Security benefit is of the utmost importance in this process. Going even further down that rabbit hole, if you're getting pensions or any other distributions, I have a client that's getting non-qualified pensions. It's pretty interesting and pretty cool for them that they may be receiving. You need to have a good handle on what that's going to look like. The reason for that is because we've already discussed the importance of knowing how much you're going to need, how much you're going to spend, what your lifestyle is going to require as far as an expense need. Now we're starting to lock in how much consistent or guaranteed income you're going to see in retirement. So now we know how much excess we need to distribute from your investment or retirement accounts to cover the difference. Lastly, I really think you can utilize these higher income or earning years, which happens for most people. If it's not for you, I don't understand your situation enough, so I'm sorry. But in general, most people, as they get older, are in their highest earning years. This is where you may have some free cash flow to reduce down debt. You want to eliminate as much debt going into retirement, unless you can really afford debt. Maybe you have a house or maybe a second property that has a mortgage on it. You can pay for that as long as your expenses can handle it, the distribution strategy can handle it, but all the other debt, credit card debt, medical debt, excess debt, kids debt, student loan debt, these last 10 years are really important to fire up all the resources available to maybe get rid of debt and prepare you for retirement. In closing, these 10 years are going to fly. They're going to fly by. The actions and steps you take now just help make for a smooth and confident transition later. You'll see that. You'll start to understand how you saw the waterfall effect of all the elements we just spoke about. Understanding your vision, understanding how much you spend now, understanding how much that spending is going to change going into retirement, understanding how much guaranteed income is going to be coming in to help cover the spending that you're going to need. What is the difference between the guaranteed income and your expenses? That's how much we're going to need to distribute on a consistent basis plus inflation throughout the remainder of retirement. We're going to need an investment strategy to make sure to support those goals, that income, that vision. You can see the waterfall effect of all that. Reducing debt reduces the expenses, which means less distributions that go to unnecessary payments. Maybe now you can distribute for better activities, things that are more important or passionate to you. You can see how it all waterfalls. You're going to see how jumping onto your retirement plan 10 years early is going to set you up for when you're 1 year out. It's just going to happen. It's just going to be game day. We're just going to execute. We're going to run the plays. We know what the other team's going to do, what their players are. We know what the playbook looks like. We know what to do when things happen and how to execute. And the better prepared you are, the better you're going to be on game day. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a good analogy. This football analogy is a really good analogy for what we're talking about. I got to find a way to distribute that more succinctly to everyone else. So, episode 1, 10 years out. Stay tuned next week. Episode 2, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment with any questions or concerns. You can also meet with me directly if you want to learn more on how I do the best financial planning in the industry, the best planning in the industry at ProPathFinancial.com. See you next time.